Hello, Sagittarius. Welcome to your monthly reading. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. It's great to see everybody. We're gathering today to take a look at the next 6 to 8 weeks. I'm reading for a month ahead, but it's good to watch this early, especially if you're looking at this in May, because it gives you a chance to anticipate, to embrace the opportunities, and to really exercise that free will. So today was a really interesting morning because I was inclined to focus on the the concept of space and holding space and openness in life. And so we're going to begin with that in just a moment. I always like to begin with channeled messages. They come from meditation and dreams, and then we get into the Celtic Cross. It all works together, and this is where the reading begins. So as I was saying this morning, I woke up after a really restful sleep and just felt this energy of just being there, not needing to focus on anything in particular too much. And that really is sometimes all meditation is. When you're trying to develop your intuitive gift, it's not always about having to go somewhere or see something or hear something. It's about checking in with your mind, body, and spirit, and just feeling out that space and saying, how am I really today? How am I showing up? And so today, that's really what I wanted to talk about with space. That does take me to the concept of the space between things. I didn't even get on a subatomic level. We'll talk a little bit about that. I am not an astrophysicist or a astronomer, but we'll talk a little bit about some of these things today. One day I'll put some of those into my podcast, but for now, let's just talk about space and creating some space in your life. All right, so in the universe, in our universe anyway, a fun fact, there's a lot of space, it's almost 100%. I can't even read that fraction. It's 0.0 and there's I think 13 or something. It's a lot of zeros. So let's just say a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a percent. That's actually all that matter is. Everything else is open, is space. So, so that's kind of an amazing thing to wrap your head around. I remember another I like to geek out a little bit sometimes and watch space programs on, public television. But I think part of this too was there was matter and antimatter, and there was this great battle of that at the beginning of the universe, and we're all the leftovers. There were a few extra particles that were able to stick around, and it's the strong energy that exists here. So this fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a percent, we're part of that. We're part of something really special. Space is not a perfect vacuum. So even in space, there are these virtual particles that blink in and out. So we can learn two things from this. There's a lot of room in this world, in this galaxy, in this universe. And even in that empty space, there's stuff we don't even understand yet. There's things blinking in and out of existence. As you look at the matter that makes up me, there's a lot of space. I'm mostly space too. And the particles are zooming in and out or blinking in and out as well. So that's where metaphysics starts to get really fun, because you may feel like you're alone. You may feel like something's stuck. Remember, these thoughts can also go away and you can start to manifest and open up new things. So let's focus today on seeing space as opportunity. Space is potential. Space is open. And that allows us to explore, to expand, and to create. It's a sandbox, a virtual sandbox with no boundaries. We have enough boundaries in everyday life, right? You have to pay your taxes. You have to follow the traffic rules. You have to wake up and go to work at a certain time. Isn't it nice to know that the overall universe has a lot of openness and there's room for things to explore and exist and expand, okay? So that's the first thing. Give yourself some space somewhere in your life where you can have fun, a sandbox. Seeing beyond limits is going to be the biggest challenge for your sign this month. So just because you don't see something doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. We can only see so far in so many directions before light you can't see it at a certain point, or it depends on our view of the galaxy. There's things in another part of the world that we can't really see. So just because it's not in our point of view doesn't mean, or our frame of reference doesn't mean that it's not possible, that it isn't happening, and that we can't accomplish something. So this is about opening yourself up. Don't think, I can't, this won't, I'll never. At the very least, attempt it. But remember what Yoda said, it's do or do not, there is no try. So just say, I'm going to attempt this, let's see where it goes. I'm open to succeeding on this. Just like a black hole, we can pull all of that momentum and that energy away if we're not careful. Use thoughts as a positive manifestation tool rather than a fear-based self-fulfilling prophecy. And that's the big message here. It may help you to take a break. I had a big decision I had to make today, and what I had to do was just go to sleep. At a certain point yesterday, I was exhausted, and I didn't need to pull cards on this. I didn't need to have a dream, a sort of metaphor come through. I just woke up and I made my mind up. I mean, yes, it was intuitive, but it was also mind, body, spirit. I'm like, this is what I want to do on this. And I feel really good because it feels right, because feeling it is okay. We don't always have to hear it, see it, or have this flash of movie, cinematic, psychic energy. You know, knowing is a form of intuition. Get some rest, take a holiday, take a break, take a walk with the dog, take a bubble bath, I don't care. 5, 10 minutes, 5, 10 days, whatever it takes to clear your head before making an important shift in your life, whether that's quitting a job, saying yes to a relationship, moving somewhere. Before those big decisions, really rest and clear your perspective. Because once you've made your mind up, you're good. My sun sign is Libra, so I have to weigh options, but I have earth placements. So once I've made my mind up, I'm very grounded in it. I feel really good. It's the deciding factor that's sometimes a difficult piece. So give yourself whatever time you need. 8 of Cups is the perfect metaphor for that. All right, now again, standard disclaimers apply. I am not a scientist, but I do a little research before every reading. And I was wondering myself, I'm like, well, why do things keep moving in space? Apparently it's Newton's first law. An object that is moving tends to stay moving at a constant speed in the same direction unless a force acts on it. So since it's mostly a vacuum in space, once something's moving, it just keeps moving until some other object's gravity or something else crosses its path. And I thought about this. It's like the initial motion that is the hardest. Once we kind of create action in our life, things start to move around us. I thought about a child that has to take its first step. It's the first step that's the hardest. They fumble a lot and everything. But once that first step happens, they look around and it's sort of like, oh yeah, I can do this. Now I can, it's not going to be perfect every time, but now I kind of got it together. Now each step is going to start to happen a little bit easier. So things tend to take on this life or momentum or force of their own after you push through and create the initial action. This could be a decision here, I want to do this. This can be an understanding here, I like or don't like this. This can be a recognition that you have the skills to kind of walk or swim or run or apply your knowledge. And it's like, oh, now I just have to do it. Now I've done the hard part, which was learning, deciding, or pushing myself in a direction. The rest will just follow. So maybe one of the things that I'm helping some of you through is that push to get out of stagnation. And then that's really it today. I mean, I say that's it. Those are major pieces that we can all learn from. So just on the summary page here, creating space and room to grow, seeing beyond limits, seeing beyond or not needing to see everything. That's really what this is about. Not needing to see it to believe it. That's what faith is, right? That's what hope is. Getting some perspective so that you can move forward and then just allowing for momentum to take over. I have a sort of saying, which is, follow the energy, follow where it's headed, and it's never going to lead you astray. If you have to push too hard in one direction, that's typically a sign. So if there's too many red flags at the beginning, well, why would you go forward? If it's super easy and super engaging, why doubt it? Really pay attention to, the way the universe is working and what it wants to show you. All right, everyone, let's get going. Again, if you just joined, perfect timing. We're going to be looking at Sagittarius, Sun, Rising, Moon, Venus. I'll particularly look at Sun, Rising, and Moon towards the end. Right now, let's give the cards a shuffle and see what messages want to come through. We got the Tower, of course we did. And the High Priestess, changes for the better, seeing beyond this moment in time. And we've got 2 in the past here. 5 of Cups and 10 of Pentacles. Okay. This is a newer deck, so some of the cards are sticky. You're going through an amazing change here. The Tower and Death right here, right at the top. 6 of Wands, again, change for the best. The Emperor, it's about your own sort of power. I like what I see so far, guys. Ooh, I love the firefly. Okay, so we have some really beautiful messages coming through for you. Let's begin with the Owl Magic card here as your catalyst. Here's what it has to say. Choose to know the truth because you can. So truth seeking is going to be part of this. If someone presents something to you and they're trying to rush you to get to a signature, to get to a decision, you're going to raise your hand and say, I need to understand this a little bit more, or you're not going to agree to something that you don't understand. All right, the next message, open your inner vision. Of course, trust your intuition. You can see through deception. So if there is anybody that's trying to manipulate, to force, or to direct in a way that is not authentic to yourself, you're going to be able to see through that. Let go of the past, make room for a better life. We talked a lot about self-fulfilling, fear-based prophecies. We don't want those. Rise up, magic and wisdom are your birthright. Amen to that. All right, so mostly this is about the inquisitive mind. The owl is looking deep within your soul or deep within whatever question or opportunity is there, and it's going to find the answer. Also, if you have an important decision or an important message, moreover, to deliver, stick to the facts. I had a boss once that was able to help me kind of like take out emotional stuff. They would typically say, I like it, subtract this paragraph, do this, and really just lead with this. Basically simplify. So stick to the facts, stick to things that when you're trying to make particularly a legal or practical or monetary argument, really kind of ground it in something that people can understand. You are the intuitive one, you're the high priestess, you can see beyond, but you may have to actually bring some things down to earth. And that's one of the challenges here. So now we're gonna move on to the Celtic Cross. This is gonna take us through the next 6 to 8 weeks. And let's see what the cards have to say. So this is the story here that's kind of setting the stage. Change is at the heart of everything. And it's been something I've been seeing consistently for all of the June readings. So we have overdue change or stagnation in the form of death. We have change that's happening because of the stagnation. We have self-control, and also like this, not just self-control, but I mean, that's what came through, so we'll honor it. But it's also self-confidence and courage and all of those things that are going to be coming from the third chakra. So fascinating stuff here. It does look like it's changed for the better, and it looks like you can see how it's all coming together because we have the High Priestess on all of that. And in the future states, we have good cards, 2 bosses, the Emperor and the Queen of Wands, 2 of the best sort of CEO type cards that I could pull. Let's take it card by card so it's not overwhelming. Let's begin with the Tower. If we're going to get the Tower, I want to see it reversed. And I'd rather see it in the first 3 or 4 cards because it shows that you already can see it, understand it, or do something about it. So the Tower, what you might be asking, Nicholas, why does the Tower come into my life and why is it reversed? The Tower comes in because there's something that no longer serves you. The universe is making it so that you have to address it, and the Tower can be big or small depending on what kind of a shift that you need to make. The reversal Tower is actually quite beneficial because it means you have a lot of say in the matter. It's up to you what you want to do with that say. So a couple of examples here. Let's imagine that you're working for a company and there is a takeover. Usually that means layoffs. Sometimes that means a chance to be promoted. It's going to be changes in movement. It's better to have a conversation with your boss and express interest in trying something new or being very open to change and saying, let's keep an open dialogue. Like you can actually affect where you're going to be rather than sit back and wait for change to happen to you. If something's broken in a relationship with a partner and you want them to talk to you, why not just have a conversation rather than waiting for them and then getting angry because they didn't come and talk to you? You're the initiator. You're the one that's going to kind of shape and mold things. Another way to look at this is like a potter at the potter's wheel, and they're going to take the pot that didn't quite show up the way that they wanted it, throw it down again, put some water on it, and mold it again. So you're basically saying, that didn't work, let's try this. But you don't have to throw out all the material or experiences. Right on top of it, we have High Priestess energy, which is fantastic. This is seeing the potential, and how important is it? It is very important to answer that rhetorical, to have this when the Tower is coming through, because some people just see the chaos, the mess, the change. You see why it's happening, you see what's next. So it's also asking you to look deeper, look beyond the thing that may be triggering you, the thing that may be in front of you. There's something more. I like that in this deck they have the human form of the last unicorn. because things are more than they appear. She was more than she appeared in that animated film. So look beyond the surface, look beyond the dust, see on the horizon, trust in yourself, and know that you have a lot of power. This is an empowered change. Change for the better. You have a big say in it, especially even that this card in and of itself says that this is like an exclamation point on top of it. Okay? What's going on in the past? A lot. There's a couple of things that we want to look at. On the surface, or maybe in the periphery, we see some movement. Some of you may be getting a new job. Some of you might be in a new relationship. Some are just focusing a lot more on money. There could just be a lot of peer pressure going on. But Ten of Pentacles is usually good. It's good, but it has to do with all of those things moving. The shadow part of you is coming through with the Five of Cups. Things are good. We see the 2 cups on the floor, but look at the 3 goblets behind her. Is she going to focus on what isn't working or what is available to her? That's really the question in the 5 of Cups. So it's a perspective shift. And for some of you, it's disbelief. Can this really be that good? I'm used to things not working. Or when will things get better? Everyone else seems to be happy around me. So it's not focusing on what isn't. It's focusing on what is and can be and will be. Think of potential. Think of where your power is. Put the intention and the energy behind that. The thing that seems to be sort of creating the tower event is stagnation. This is a funny death card. So this he wants to, usually, well, in some of the cards he wants to have a drink, but he can't because he's not in human form. In this one, he's trying to kind of like create a smoke screen here. But I would say for many of you, with death in reverse, sometimes it can feel like an end. So let's look at this. There's two or three different ways to read death. Death reverse can feel like it's all done, it's all over, when it's really just saying, no, you're done with this now, but there's so much more potential. Remember now it's coming into clarity for me why I needed to talk about space. It's okay to just be for a little bit. I think we're very used to going from one thing to another. Some people are in a cycle of going from one relationship to another, one job to another, one degree of education to another, one after the other after the other. We're stacking all this stuff. You don't have to stack experiences. You need some time to integrate. And so for some of you, there's integration that's happening, and know that it won't be forever, and it's not a permanent end. It's just saying, all right, this chapter is coming to a close. Be with that for a second before you go straight to the next thing. Some of you are very success oriented. We have the 6 of Wands right up here. So clearly that's there. But this is saying make sure that you're with the change long enough to research all of the options in front of you. If you're stagnating, like bored at work, or you're in a relationship and you feel like this isn't what I was looking for. On the out, sort of like if anybody on the outside looking in thinks it's perfect, but it's not for you. You're not here to please everyone else. And that's the big lesson in the crowning card here. You don't have to make everyone else happy by doing something well or by doing what they want to do. 6 of Wands, just like the 10 of Pentacles, can be a peer pressure card. So I'm freeing you right now to just basically do what's right for you, what's right, full stop, not what's popular, not what's expected. And if people truly, this is kind of like a litmus test from which you can judge how good a friend someone is. But if they love you unconditionally, they're going to support your trajectory. They may have some questions, but ultimately they're going to support you in the path that you want to take. Okay. This is an auspicious card, no matter how you look at it. It shows that success is incoming. So in the throes of the Tower of the Death card, you're also getting ready for some positive change and movement. Remember to keep putting yourself out there, to look around. Remember I said with space, it depends on your window into the universe, what you can see. And we can only see so far back and so far in one direction. We can't see in all directions. So know that there's more potential out there. And what the cards are basically seeing is opportunity for success. If you're not seeing it where you're at, look somewhere else. It's there. The cards don't lie. So as we look at the near future here, we have the Emperor card in reverse. That's what this is about here. So this is your power center. For some of you, it's just about holding yourself in a place where you're not afraid to ask for something or step up and do something. I recently had that same sort of realization with an important decision where I thought, well, I'm kind of the one in charge here. If I don't want to do it, I don't have to do it. It's a nice thing when you're an adult too. You're not really necessarily having to make your family happy anymore. It's more about you and your individual family unit. So this came through in relationships. This is very much attached to that. We also have an interesting sort of like generational gap between these two cards. So for some of you, it could be, sibling rivalry. It could be parental friction. It could also be a mentor-mentee sort of thing where, the other person feels like they know best. They feel like they want, well, it's not that they feel. They want you to do a certain thing, but you know your own trajectory best. I was just looking at the replay here. It was reversed. So for some of you, this is about a helicopter dad or mom popping in, checking in on you, making sure that and it can be a boss too, just saying like, are you sure you can do this? Have you done this? I don't know if you can do this. It's like, what you really want to say to them is, please allow me to have my moment to manage my affairs. It's like, leave me alone, get out of my business. But we don't want to necessarily say that. So create proper boundaries in your life and say no if you need to. And don't answer every call, every text, or everything, because sometimes it's just someone that it's just this constant tug of war. So that's one of the challenges this month. But this card is telling you and showing you that you have the capacity to do it. Your archangels are coming through. You could work with Chamuel if you wanted to, but you can just work with your higher self as well. Okay? Looking at you, since we were talking about you, we have the Page of Pentacles. I like the Page of Pentacles. The Page of Pentacles in reverse is a question. Is this good enough for you? So that's my question to you. Is it? And if it isn't, what do you need? The Page of Pentacles will ask, I need more of this, or I don't want to do that, or help me understand this. It's inquisitive. It's going to get to the bottom of things. It's investigative. It's going to understand that. So don't agree. I'm going to say this again. Don't agree to something. Don't move forward with something until you've got it. Mind, body, and spirit. Okay, I understand. Yes, let's do it. And if you don't feel it, don't do it. That's the best piece of advice I can give you with this. And recently we had another page card in reverse, or a knight in reverse this week. Same thing holds true, but it's actually even stronger with a page than it is with a knight. If you need something, ask. This is a very good card at getting that. So if you're getting overcharged and it doesn't match with what the proposal was, or the estimate, you could just say, you said it was going to be this, it was going to be this. Oh, okay, I forgot about it. Or you could say, can you meet this price? Do your research and show it. Remember, fact-based information. You can then, kind of put that Jedi mind thing out there where it's sort of like, I know this is going to work, but you have to have the facts to follow it up too. Facts plus intuition plus positivity, you're kind of unstoppable if you can do that. Okay? I like that. You might also be investing in yourself, going back to school, taking a class, or just deciding to spend a little bit more time and energy on personal health and happiness. One of the things that you can do as we're looking in the environment is to manage your stress. I just read for, Scorpio the other day, but the message coming through for them, I think this was around the center. It was either that or Libra. But stress management has been coming through time and again over the course of the past few readings for June. So you can control what you can control. If something's out of the realm of your decision making, if there's a lot of unknown variables, remember what I said at the beginning. Get some sleep, deal with it on a fresh brain without all of the sort of fears and anxieties from the night before. This does a really nice job of illustrating what the Nine of Swords can be like. This can be words that people have said, pressure, your own thoughts, your own fears, outside forces. And it's just sort of like, enough is enough. Let me just get some rest. Let me focus on myself, and we'll look at this with a clean slate tomorrow. How is your sleep? How much are you working? Are some of you in an environment where there's it's like a pressure cooker? Because this can also just be an office or a family or an activity where everyone is like over caffeinated and too worried and focusing on, again, only the critical, but not constructive elements to that critique, okay? So if that's happening, you need to kind of separate yourself from this and be kind to yourself. Nine of Swords, usually not as bad as it looks. Not like the Ten of Swords, it's just fear. Okay, so now we have the Hermit card, which is wisdom. Here it's the unicorn, but typically it would be, an old kind of wizard or sorceress with a lantern. And basically you're finding the power, the light, and the insight within. And for some of you, there's a desire to just get a little bit of space. As a part of that stress management, you might be thinking, I need to take a night off. You have an invitation to hang out and you think, not tonight. Or sometimes even if someone wants to go on a trip, you have to really ask yourself, is this going to be a vacation or is this going to be an itinerary-based trip? Here's your traditional hermit, just for comparison. He's it's a good card for research, for knowledge expansion, for meditation, for healing, and basically eventually getting to be the star that is in the lantern if you look real close. But you have to have that sort of self-reparation and restoration. So give yourself time to repair, recharge, and reset. And that's really what the hermit's saying. The opportunity here is mastery, though, like really learning something, because this is one of the smartest cards that you can pull. If I want an advisor, sure, I want the hermit. I want the hermit, I want the high priestess. I wouldn't mind the Queen of Wands, which we've got, but you've got a couple of those, which is great. So that's a nice segue into two of the best boss cards. You also got the two best boss cards. So the Emperor, of course, is the quintessential boss, but the Queen of Wands, she can meet him eye to eye. What do I like about her? She has the ability to see beyond. So she's magical in and of herself. The traditional card is going to have her in a desert with a flower growing by her side and a black cat. So just when people think she's about, taken out and not going to come back, she finds a way to do something. She finds hidden resources. She uses her intuition, and she's practical. You can't ask for a better kind of queen card. She's one of the best. Here's your traditional one. You can see the pyramids of Giza behind her. You see the black cat, and she's holding the sunflower right there. By some mystery, there's a sunflower growing in the desert. So where there's a will, there's a way, and that's the message from the Queen of Wands. Do you want it? Are you ready to put the work in? Can you look beyond other people's limits? If you can, she's your perfect ally, and she's the perfect representation of what's possible for you. Okay? Love it. Let's now take a look at the expanded version of the forecast, where we can get a little deeper and dive into health, wealth, love, and destiny. Each one of these is multifaceted. There's a disclaimer on each one just to remind you, if you need to talk to a therapist or a financial advisor or a doctor, please do that. I'm here to look at energy and to empower you to make decisions that are right for you, but you're always going to be the deciding factor on this. So we're looking here at your health card, and it's asking you to do your research here. So we'll look at the card upright, and it basically says study and learning, and that the card was reversed. So it may be about sort of like challenging someone's expertise or making sure that you've learned everything that you can. And it's nicely connected to the hermit, and I guess more the traditional hermit that we were looking at just a second ago, which is now shuffled back in the deck. But basically this is about not being afraid to look at all of the options before you make a big decision. I love the, now whenever I see the math, it reminds me of the math meme with all the equations floating in front of you. If you're feeling overwhelmed, talk to someone who can put it into everyday speak. One of the things I try to do here is to just sort of like take a card, look at it, and then break it down into what does this mean for you? A lot of times with astrology readings in particular, not so much tarot, but it gets very technical about all of the sort of degrees of this and that, but sometimes we forget why we're talking about the planets and the degrees. So one thing that I always try to do here is break it down into why it's happening. So for you, this is saying knowledge is power. And what's the big area of growth right now? Your power center. The more you know, the more confident you are, the more able you are to move forward. So this helps you with this. And even though this is in relationships, this is also something that's coming through with your health. So you may be having, and we of course had the Emperor here, so there could be some power dynamics between, again, parents and children, because the Emperor can be that. It can also be between you and someone that is managing you. And so the sooner you can kind of figure out what you want and back it all up with that sort of knowledge, then you're able to open up that power center. And then hopefully things like digestion and anything else that you might be holding into the stomach area around the solar plexus, they're going to start to heal. Exercises that you can do, again, with the approval of your doctor or professional, would be like core strengthening And for everybody, that's different. So you can do that with Pilates, with yoga, with mat-based exercises. Lots of different ways to do that, but strengthen the core. That's going to help you. All right, let's specifically look at some other messages around health. Let me take a drink and then we'll dive into the cards. Okay, so we're going to look at the center cards the most here. For some of you, there has been a period of stagnation. Death reverse can be like recovery after illness, or being so busy studying or working for a little bit that you haven't been moving your body. Don't move too fast. Don't go from 0 to 80. Slow down. And I had to do that a couple weeks ago with a physical therapist. I, for all intents and purposes, just fired them, and I'm fine now. But they were rushing me, and they gave me a minor injury, thankfully very, very minor, and I'm able to move on. But if you are moving from a place where you're recovering and someone misinterprets or misunderstands how much you can do, then it can create more issues. So don't try to do everything at once. Even like if you're moving, same thing. Carry one box at a time. Don't try to do 2 or 3. You're gonna, throw out a muscle or something. Easy does it. And you probably know it before it happens. And the minute it happens, you're like, why did I do that? If something's off and you feel it, talk about it, because this is you tuning into something in your body that needs to be adjusted. It might just be a chiropractic adjustment, folks. It's not the end of the world. This can be an adjustment. But whatever it is, talk to the appropriate professional about that. You see it, you feel it. It's your body. You honor it. You know you better than anyone else. That's what these 3 cards teach you. There's a lot of pressure. These 3 cards are pressure. It's success, and how can I keep up with the success? So who are you trying to succeed for, and what do you constitute success to be? It's a very subjective term. Try not to put so much emphasis on it. Do the best you can, show up as the best version of yourself. That was yesterday's 1 card pull, and that's enough. That's enough, folks. You don't have to be perfect. Perfection, I think that was today's. Perfection's not the point. So you're missing the point if you think it is perfection, okay? So ease up a little bit. You may be your own worst enemy. It can also be family or teachers, but I want for you to feel secure, safe, and successful, because it feels like you're doing a good job. You can't make everyone happy. It took me way too many years to learn that. Ask, speak up if there's something that's not going right in the environment, particularly. If you need some more support in a relationship or at work, ask for it. The good news is, aside from these cards, everything else is manageable. It feels like some of you just need a break from a busy social schedule. So take time off if you need to. It came through differently here. The hermit is another version of vacation, but it's a staycation, or it's a vacation on your own, maybe not with a lot of people. It feels like you need that isolated time to recalibrate, okay? Otherwise, I like what I see, folks. I feel like everything's good. Just don't rush into any new exercise or diet or fad or anything. Take your time. You can't do stuff overnight. And that's what this is asking you to do, is slow down. When it comes to your sleeping situation, obviously also take a look at your bed, the lighting in your bedroom, and your device usage. You want softer light in your bedroom. There are actually temperatures on lights, like 2700 Kelvin, 3000 Kelvin, 5000 Kelvin. The lower the degree, the more yellow or orange or softer it is in your bedroom. You probably want that softer light. Softer colors are also good. Cool colors can help you, like blues and greens. Really bright colors like this, it might be good for an office. Not, like really bright colors might keep you awake. So try to get the soothing colors in the bedroom and in the bedspreads and the sheets, and then try to keep the light nice and calm and keep it clean. Clear the space out. All of this will help. And turn off your device at a certain point. Don't go to sleep with that blue thing by your bed, the light kind of coming up, because that's going to interrupt it as well. I just put on Do Not Disturb after a certain hour. Nobody really needs to contact me between midnight and 5 a.m. Unless it's a spirit guide. Otherwise, I don't need my phone lighting up. All right, that's everything for this. Let's move on to the next piece. We're going to look at wealth, career, the trajectory overall with all of this. Okay, so as we look at wealth, we have discovery, Maui. So for some of you, I mean, these are all coming together here. You may discover something that, as you do this sort of study and learning, meditation as well, there may be this inner discovery. I am not in the right place, or I'm exactly where I need to be. And for me this morning, like I said, decision-making abilities, when you're in this phase, just go to bed. Nothing's going to get solved as you're sitting there stressing out. Nobody's awake. Nobody's going to be. So it's better at a certain point to take a deep breath or take a bath or listen to a podcast, reprogram your mind and get some rest, and then come back and you'll discover some new things after that. So taking a break is key. Research, rest, discovery, all of these things go hand in hand. Some of you might actually be leaning into something like research, or you want a more adventurous sort of job or activity that you're working on if you're retired. So yay for that. I definitely get confirmation with respect to that. Okay, specifically looking at the cards connecting to money. Well, you did get a pentacle. You got a few pentacles cards here. So this is just emphasizing the work you've done in the deep past, like previous lifetimes and also this lifetime. You've built up the tree of life that is the Ten of Pentacles. So as far as tarot and as far as your guides are concerned, you are worthy. You may need to restate that worth or ask for that to make sure that you're not being taken for granted or given less than your worth, okay? So that's the big lesson when it comes to negotiations and, again, how much you're willing to give and take. I see some really positive movement for many of you. So let's say you've been unemployed, or let's say you're the Tower can also represent a period where you don't have a home. And that could mean for some of you that you're staying with family, or you could be recently graduated and maybe trying to find a job and staying with family for a little bit. We have any number of reasons. You could be out of a relationship, looking for a new place, looking for a job and a place. So I see movement. We all have periods where we're not necessarily at a static address. For me, a large part of last year, because I had some issues with the previous place, and then I went to a place that had termites. I was like, okay, this is not great. So I had a few months where I just had to kind of go to an Airbnb, find a new solid place, and then I was good. So for any number of reasons, all of us can end up between addresses. So for those of you that are between addresses, it's okay. Because what we see here is the Six of Wands here. You're on to better paths, but you had to get through this, or you needed to be distracted long enough to find this, okay? And then some of you are trying to capture lightning in a bottle, or trying to, there's so many different metaphors here, but you can't do the same thing twice. But I actually see you probably doing even better this time around. So it's not about repeating, it's about evolving. Think of musicians that don't want to make the same album again or the same song again and again. They have to you have to embrace that version of you that's present today. Don't live in a rerun. Don't live in an old mold. Don't try to wear 10 years ago like clothing that fit you then. You're not the same person, mind, body, or spirit. So let's just kind of celebrate the old and embrace the new version of you. And whatever this new version is, I like it. And whatever space is between this and this, the space is where the magic happens. And that's what we talked about earlier. Going back to school is fine for those of you that want to do that. Learning something new is fine. We've got multiple cards about studying and expanding knowledge. The one thing that comes across, if it isn't already present, is you need to feel like you're the boss, that you have more of a say. You've done the wisdom and the studying work. Now it's just about stepping into empowerment. It doesn't mean that you have to have a comma and the title CEO. It just means that you feel empowered to make decisions, and you're surrounded by people that respect your decisions. So whether that is with a title, whether that's at work or just in your life in general, that's what we see here. The one thing that I would caution any and all of you from putting too much energy into is environments that increase your stress. So if there's a job that pays a lot, but the stress is here, these are old cycles. We don't need to do those anymore. You can find a different cycle if you're ready, if you're willing. You might need to do it on your own again. If you're retired, this is also saying for some of you that maybe dealing with the loneliness or trying to find ways to get back out there could be good. One of the ways could be taking classes or getting involved in the community, because these cards represent both of those. Anyway, I would just challenge everybody to recalibrate what success means. It seems to me subjective and not as important as fulfillment and happiness. They're not all mutually inclusive. You can be successful and miserable. You can be fulfilled and unsuccessful. You can, I think the most important, but I would say this unsuccessful is based on other people's lenses. Because to me, an essential ingredient to success is happiness. If you are happy, fulfilled, and making a difference, then you are succeeding. You may not be making as much as someone else. You may not have the title as someone else, but you're doing exactly what you want to do. And believe it or not, there may be a little bit of jealousy from other people in the power or the freedom that you have. So forget about the success, the S word. Focus on happiness, fulfillment, alignment to purpose. We need a better word. Aligned. Are you aligned? Wouldn't that be a better word for kids and parents? Saying like, I respect such and such. They're so aligned to their source and they're so aligned to their purpose. Not successful, aligned. You could say they're aligned, they're fulfilled, and they make an impact. What a cool person they are. And if we kind of put that out there as a barometer for the word success, it would be a lot different. So let's recalibrate and reframe it. How aligned are you this month with what makes you healthy, happy, and also with what your soul wants you to do? If the alignment is off, just like a car, you're not going to be running in the best fashion. All right, enough with that. Let's focus now on love and relationships, romantic, platonic, friends, and family. Power dynamics are coming through loud and clear with relationships. The one thing that's going to help you with that is talking to others. As I said, I'm not a replacement for anybody that is an expert, so talk to some experts, listen to some great people, lean on your friends, and then also realize at the end of the day, and even though I have a bunch of cards in front of me here in my office, when I have important decisions to make, a lot of times I just close my eyes and I'm like, how do I feel? What do I want to do? What's right for me? You can't always go shuffle 78 cards and decide what to do. Sometimes you have to just kind of go into your heart and soul and think, yeah, let's do this. These are tools, but they are not the only tools. So you have a lot of tools at your intuition. So lean into that, lean into your own strength and power, and know that you can do this. Let's look at relationships this month, and let's focus on the 3 different areas that I like to call up. We're going to look at those in a relationship, those looking for love, and those that are happily single. If you're in a current relationship, there's movement, there's change. It could be change for the better. This could be a new job, someone moving for a new job. This could also represent an end of a single life, and for some of you deciding to move in together because this is creating a new life together. What we have this month is a symbolic, or for some of you a literal, change or transformation or loss. It's change for the better, but it's change and movement nonetheless. Even when you retire or quit a job or get out of a relationship or into a relationship, you're going to go through a mourning phase, and that's what this is. This is mourning the past, but not forgetting to celebrate the 2 cups that represent the future. So that's what I'm seeing here, is embracing the movement and knowing that it's kind of like space. We were talking about Newton's first law. It's been so many years since I studied that. I was like, oh yeah, I kind of remember that. But so once something's started, once the wheels are in motion, especially like there could be something like, for some of you might be falling out of a relationship, like out of love. Once some things have started, it's like, I don't think I want to go back to that. I'm really comfortable with moving forward, even if it's a little uncomfortable, because it's necessary. I've grown, I've changed, let's do this. So follow that movement and that energy until you're given another reason not to, because it feels like you're on the right path. Change for the better. If you decide to go for it, and it's like new love, moving in, marriage, starting a family, all these new things, we see some great growth here. There's of course stress with new things, but remember to speak up. Ask for what you need. Also ask for the expectations that your partner has for you. Do you like this? What do you expect? Is it okay if I do this? Like trying to find the rules of engagement. That's really what we see here, and communicating them. What's missing? Just like yesterday's reading, I've got swords, but it's not the kind of swords I want. I want to see like the Page of Swords or the Queen of Swords or just about anything but that one. So yeah, we need a little bit more open communication. All right. Now, for those of you that are single and looking, can you find love? Absolutely. This can be the end of a dry spell. This is saying manifest clearly. because there's a lot of chaotic energy around that. So the clearer you are, the clearer the universe can kind of show up with that partner. What do you need to work on before a partner appears? Knowing that you didn't make mistakes, that you don't. I had a friend this morning that told me, don't be so hard on yourself. I'm going to echo her words here too. Be kinder to your choices and decisions because, my friends, they led you to your alignment. We're not going to use success today. They led you to be more aligned and more sort of like tuned in. So there are no mistakes, there are no missteps, there are just lessons. And if the lessons are integrated, they are part of that alignment, formerly known as success. What are we looking at here? There could be age differential or there could be experience differences between you and the other person. So it could just be that their physical self belies their sort of like, the better way to put this is an old soul in a young body, or vice versa. They're old, but they seem really young. There's something a little bit surprising about the age. Or they could just be very well-traveled and well-lived and really experienced. Don't stress about this. When it comes to new love and love that you're pulling in, if it isn't happening, either you're not ready or there's something else to focus on. And just because you don't see it doesn't mean that it's not galloping in on the horizon at some point, okay? Focus on the inner growth, and someone's going to come through that really likes that wisdom. So the Queen of Wands energy can represent you, but it can also be the person that you're pulling in because it's in the future state. So it's someone that's going to be headstrong, independent, and really not afraid to ask for what they want. So keep working on those things because we want you to be able to meet them on the level. If there's something that isn't here that you want to manifest, it's your life. Manifest it, okay? You're the boss, and that's ultimately what this is saying. If you are happily single, where is the energy pointing you? For some of you, it's time to move. These cards for sure represent a necessary move. Moving out of a job, moving out of a house, moving into something new. For some of you, you want to deepen your spiritual path. And this is going to create an amazing change in your sort of life trajectory. You could go down a completely different path altogether. That happened for me. So once the intuition awakened, I'm like, I can't do the day job anymore. I can't pretend that things are okay if they're not. That's a truth, actually. I don't put up with nonsense. If it's not gonna, I don't want to do it anymore. I'm not old, but I'm too old for that. I'm not gonna put up with nonsense, and I'm not gonna play games. And I did that long enough in corporate environments. So when it comes to relationships that are coming in, realize that there's no time for games. Just trust that you can, you've earned this moment to kind of, some of you just want to be by yourself. That's why it's single and happy, but you still may be calling in different types of partnerships. Trust in your ability to discern which ones are worth the time and energy. Ultimately, it's just a really successful period for you. So enjoy it and embrace it. And personal growth, particularly when it comes to confidence, that's where the focus is for you. Destiny. Okay, so your destiny card is one of my favorites, the Firefly. I didn't get to see fireflies, or sometimes called lightning bugs, until I was almost 10 years old, because we don't have them in all of the Western states. It was when I traveled across country. My dad had a job transfer to go to the East Coast. I think we were in Indiana at the time, and around Indianapolis, when I saw my first fireflies. We were staying with a friend there, and it was amazing. I thought it was magic. Because they were like these little stars shooting around in the night. And then you look at them and they're like beetles. It's not what you imagine. It doesn't, this is kind of an okay illustration. It's pretty good, actually. I imagine that they were like, dragonflies or flies, but they're beetles. And they have this luminescence. But anyway, that was one of those moments where I was like, wow, that's cool. I've never seen that. There's something on this planet that I haven't seen. So it represents to me awe and discovery, and then a light in the dark, which is nicely connected to the hermit energy that we looked at a little bit ago. So you may be asked to be the firefly. You might have to be the light in the dark, or you might have to turn on the light if no one else is looking. Fireflies to me are illumination, though. So never underestimate your ability to see something magical. Unfortunately, because of climate change and deforestation, we're not having as many fireflies as we used to in population. I hope they stick around because they're beautiful, and it's a really cool insect in the animal kingdom, I think. All right, definitely magic, even as an adult. something that I miss. If I were to travel back to the East Coast, I'd want to see the fireflies for a little bit. All right, we're going to expand the forecast now to look at the sun, rising, and moon components here. As I said earlier, you can always use it for any aspect of your chart, but I always dig a little deeper into sun, rising, and moon. King of Cups for sun. Ten of Swords reversed for rising. Five of Pentacles for moon. All right, let's start off with sun sign messages. So for everyone, this is everyone that's Sagittarius sun. We have the King of Cups, one of the nicest energies to come through. It's really showing you that this month you have the capacity to call in love. You're a creative channel. Your intuition and your sensitivity is heightened to a degree that it may not have been before. And the main thing that you want to do, the key to the kingdom, the key to success, is to manage your emotions. So we see this king not like we see the waves crashing around him, but he's calm, he's fine. He's basically able to know when and where to channel emotions, when to stay neutral. He's not afraid to feel. And that's actually why I love this Divine Masculine card, because he's like, if you want to hang out with someone, he's the kindest. Like whether it's a partner or a boss or someone of that nature, there's a lot of love here, and we sometimes lack that in the Divine Masculine. And so it's present here. So lean into the sensitivity. Even though this is Divine Masculine, it's saying you can be sensitive and strong. I don't know why we have to separate these things. We don't. But there is this sort of separation that has occurred over time. To be sensitive is not to be strong. Well, no, that's malarkey. Strength and sensitivity are absolutely cooperative energies, and they're not mutually exclusive. So yeah, show your sensitivity, show your passion, know when and where to lean into the emotions and when to kind of bite your tongue, and that's going to be keys to success. And yes, if you're looking for love, those of you that are trying to manifest a partnership or just friendship or some sort of partnership, we have the King of Cups, which is one of the ultimate cards for that. So yes, you can create that this month if you want it. Rising and Ascendant. This is the one where there's a little bit of a cautionary note. Don't burn yourself out. That's really what the Ten of Swords is saying. We got the Nine of Swords, of course, showing up in the environment. This could be your current relationship, your job, where you live. There could be a bunch of construction or things going on. I know I had to deal with that last year. Whatever it is, it takes its toll on you. And this card is really just sort of emblematic of that. And it's a reminder to sort of rise above. So we see this crow getting ready to kind of get out of there and get away from that. Either a crow or something. I can't quite tell from the back here. But it's important for you to move beyond that sense of being trapped or being sort of beholden to that energy. My favorite Ten of Swords cards is in the Light Seer's deck, because we just see her walking down a path and the birds are above her and she's unbothered. So it's recognizing a cyclical pattern and saying, I don't want to repeat it. I don't have to repeat it. And you don't have to, by the way. So you don't have to take the bait for someone's argument. You don't have to agree to something where you know it's going to create burnout. You aren't going to ignore pain in your body, whether it's physical or mental or emotional, because you know it's going to build up. So this is stopping the old cycle when it comes to all of those things and just walking in a different direction. So I think for many of you in the Rising and Ascendant, it's just showing it's over. You don't have, this is already reversed, so you're not going to do it. You just have to accept the decision. It's like judgment reversed. The decision's been made, the cards have been laid, the opportunities are knocking, but you have to sort of be ready to say, okay, enough with that, and now let's do this instead. Moon messages. Five of Pentacles. Fives are typically adjustment cards if you haven't figured that out already. Five of Cups and Five of Pentacles in particular. But for the Five of Pentacles, it's about never underestimating your worth. Never equating one person's opinion of your worth to your actual worth. And knowing that rejection in the past is not indicative or systemic to future rejection. It happened to redirect you. I always say rejection is a form of protection, is a form of insight. It is there to help you, to stop you. And it hurts. And it hurts for a reason, the same reason that you touch something hot and you're like, ouch. So you don't keep touching it and burning yourself. So rejection is the same sort of thing. It hurts, but it will help. So allow yourself to be helped by the rejection. Allow it to not be something that defines you. It's one person, one place, one situation that rejected you. It's not everything. It's not everyone. A lot of times, I mean, if we were to look at the traditional card, you would see two wounded people. It's been coming up a lot lately. The thing is, you can't get someone who is still healing themselves to support you because they sort of need to do the work. So for you this month, my advice, so that you can be the best version of yourself, is to embrace that inner child and do some things that create joy and fulfillment, that align you so that you are more aligned, and that if there's anyone in your life that wants to take you out of your alignment, just like a car that's out of alignment, it's not going to go in the right direction. Or like, especially if something's been hit and the axis, whatever, is off, you can't steer it correctly. It wants to go in the wrong direction. So if people want to take you out of your path or your zone, no. Focus on taking care of yourself. The next in this suit would be the Six of Pentacles. Six of Pentacles carries with it discernment. And that's not good enough for me, or I can give this much, or just a full out no. You get to decide. You're the boss, okay? And if you do that, then you'll be well on your way to Six of Pentacles, which is more than enough, okay? So you're just a few steps away from that. Allow that to come through. We see the movement of the tides. Things are ebbing and flowing, and I feel like you're just about ready for that next shift in your life. All right, let's prepare for the meditation here. Just a quick reminder, if you haven't already, please hit that like and subscribe. And if you'd like to, you can give me a follow on social media. We'll talk a little bit more about that at the end. But for the next component of this reading, we're going to meditate together, and then I'm going to pull one final card at the end. This only takes like 2 to 3 minutes. You stuck around this far, so stick around for this. So write something down if you need some advice. Should I do this? What's going on with this? Or you can just have it be a wild card. In the meantime, do me a favor, if you will, and close your eyes. I love that we had an owl come through today, so I'd like to connect with the owl energy. With your eyes closed, imagine that you are just like that owl. You're connecting with the avatar of the owl, and it's perched in a tree, the highest tree in the biggest forest on this planet. And from this vista, you can just see, it's nighttime, of course, because owls are most active at night. You can see all of the treetops, and you can see with the perspective that humans can't. Your eyesight is attuned for night vision. So you can see and you can hear also what's going on. I want you to really focus on listening. Close your eyes, close those big owl eyes, and just listen, and allow yourself to hear sort of like what from your higher self. What is it that you want? Listen to your heart, listen to your intuition, and allow, as I play the singing bowl, for a message to come through. And if nothing comes through, allow for the space to be one of peace without judgment, holding space for good news. And that's really a nice expectation to put forward in the days to come. You can think to yourself, I'm ready for good news. I can't wait to hear what's going to happen today. Today is going to be a great day. Put those expectations out there so that you can manifest based on that rather than fears. All right, close your eyes. Allow for this beautiful canopy of trees to surround you, and allow for this sound to just kind of open up your heart, your mind, and your intuition. Take a couple of deep breaths. Imagine now perhaps that you can fly from the top of the tree to the ground, connecting now with your earthly body, your earthly avatar, feeling that the wisdom of the owl comes through as well, knowing what's available to you, seeing how vast the opportunities are, how big the world is, knowing that the best is yet to come. And that's a nice expectation as well. The best is yet to come. All right, please, if you will, open your eyes, take a deep breath and focus on your question. Let's see what the cards have to say. All right. This is a very special Eight of Wands. We don't always get to see this, but with the Eight of Wands, there is a community aspect to it, and you can see it here. So this Eight of Wands came through in the reverse state. And what you can see, though, is that the unicorn is kind of alone in the forest, but there's an audience. Traditional Eight of Wands, we see everything kind of flying in the air. I always like to remind folks that there's other people that are throwing those wands up. And so if you're feeling like I really need to find a better connection, am I alone? There are other people out there that are willing and ready and possibly just waiting for you to engage with them. So slow down in this moment in time and take a moment to really drink that in. So here's your traditional Eight of Wands. It's just things in motion. And for this one, we can see someone moving so fast that they've kind of missed the support. They've missed the audience there. So take some time to be more present. Take some time to look around to see who might be around you, what opportunities might be availing themselves to you. And know that ultimately, the Eight of Wands is a good card. It represents movement, success, abundance, even though it's wands, but generally it's like Newton's first law. They're going to keep going. Now, we're not in a vacuum here, but if you start something good and keep up that momentum, things will keep going in a good direction, okay? And that's what we've got here with the Eight of Wands. In the reversed state, don't get lost in the shuffle. Don't move so fast that you lose perspective. Do take time to be present. Do connect with the people that you love. And do recognize that this is a community effort too, and there's a lot of people around this that make it possible, which is a nice segue into this final piece. I just want to say thanks to everybody that showed up today. Before we get into just acknowledging anyone that gave a sticker or joined, again, one more time, if you haven't hit the subscribe button, you can only do it once in a lifetime. Please do it. It helps, and I would love to reach some more people, so please do it. You can also like and leave a comment if you're an existing member. It's free and it helps. If you'd like to join me on other social media platforms so you never miss out on a daily read or any news, please do that. We recently had some upload issues and I ended up putting it on the other platforms first and later on YouTube. You never know when that's going to happen, so it's good to have follow me elsewhere as well. Remember, I do not offer private readings. Let me repeat, I do not offer private readings, and I will not direct message you or put anything in comments asking for money. Anyone that does that is not me. Let me know, report them, and be safe. All right, all that being said, thank you for giving back. This is how you can do it if you'd like to. I'd like to say thanks to all of my newest watchers here and anybody that's a current subscriber or member. I'm going to say thanks first to the folks that joined today. And then if I have some time here, I'll say thanks to the rest because we have a pretty small group today. So let's see, to my newest members, we have a few folks that rejoined. So Triple Emmers, I think I saw you. Yeah, you just did it. So welcome back after 13 months, a year and a month. Good to have you back. Let's see, Christina, thank you as well for rejoining after 3 months. Ben, thank you, brand new. All of you did that today and I appreciate it. All right, to the folks that gave back with supers, and then I'll say thanks to any members I see in the chat. All right, today we have Jen, Eileen, Diana, and Yoga Rising. Good to see all of you. There's, I would say everybody there I pretty much have seen at least once before. So thank you for coming back and for being continuing to support the channel. I usually see it's my hardcore supporters that really make it possible for, it's almost like the universe. It's like a fraction of a percent that make it free for everyone and available for everyone. So thank you for your love and support. And before I wrap up, to the other members that I can see in chat, thank you to Manal, thank you to Jill, Laura, let's see who else we've got here. I think that's everyone, Elizabeth. And if I missed anybody, know that I see you and I appreciate you, and I wish you the best. I'll be putting up a poll for the weekend pretty soon. Usually I always do that by Saturday. I'm here every Sunday, so we'll get to look at the weekly collective together on Sunday, and then I'll be back next Monday, Thursday, and Friday for more monthly readings. I'm probably going to do a lunar reading today as well, time TBD, because I have a lot going on, so that'll just be an unannounced live. In the meantime, wishing you all the best. Thank you so much again for showing up today. I will see you all again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.